Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 18 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Teresa Lyons. Thank you so much for your support on Patreon. And she wants to know, if I was on this season, would I align with the vets? That's a great question. I know when they have these mixed seasons, a lot of times people are like, you gotta get rid of the vets immediately, or they're just gonna cruise to the end. But honestly, I just would not be able to play with the newbies, especially this group of newbies, because I feel like so many of them have no idea what they're doing. They've like never even watched the show before. I would absolutely align with the vets. It's all about getting rid of them at the... Lucy is destroying a carpet right now. It's all about getting rid of them at the right time. You don't want to be at the end with them. But then again, that worked out for E and Terry. But anyway, thank you for your question, and if you guys want to be house guests of the day, let me know. Support us on Patreon. Check out our link in the info box below. One other thing, I just want to say, like, I'm going to be going through a wide range of emotions during this spoiler. There will be laughter. There will be near tears. I was reviewing my notes, and I was just like, oh man, this is going to be like, it's going to be all over the place. So I hope you guys are ready. Alright, so it looks like those cracks in the 8-pack alliance are deepening, as well as the Fatal 5, because we know those two overlap. So Davon, Zakiya, and James were chatting in the safari room, and again, Day brings up she's been noticing Tiffany and Pauly have been off on their own a lot together, whispering, and she's like, why do I keep seeing this? Like, what the frig are they talking about all the time? What is this? Get your life. So she's like, I don't know if we can trust Tiffany. And she's talking about how she's already keeping information from her. She doesn't know if she can trust her. I feel like that's really bad. It's just like in any relationship, when you start keeping information from someone, it's not a good sign. And I think they could be headed towards a breakup. Like, I want to see this alliance succeed, but I feel like the downfall is going to be between Davon and Tiffany. That is definitely what it's shaping up to be so far. So Zakiya was like, yeah, I'm seeing this crap too. Tiffany came to me before and was asking me what I think about Pauly, and I was like, why don't you tell me what you think? Why are you asking me this? So I think there's also going to be some tension, because there's a little bit of like a love triangle thing going on with Tiffany, Pauly, and Zakiya. I don't know. So Zakiya is also like, yeah, Pauly was telling me that he had this late night chat with Jose, which I talked about in yesterday's spoiler, and he was like going around saying that he had my vote and like he shouldn't be telling Jose that. So she didn't like it. She wasn't happy about it. So they're talking about how Pauly and Tiffany are bad news. And then Frank joins the conversation, and he's like, guys, let's just relax here. Pauly's alright. He messed up. He should not have been talking to Jose like that. I've already told him to stop talking game with him. It's fine. So Frank is showing up, Mr. Fireman, putting out all these fires. And then they also talk about Bridget. They're concerned about her. They feel like she's a spy. And now we find out, friggin' in tonight's episode, that the 3-person all-girl alliance is like the spy girls or whatever. So, yeah, isn't Bridget is Spunky Spy or whatever? Oh, okay. So I don't know, whatever. So Frank is trying to tell them, like, no, I trust Bridget. It's all good. Like, you need to trust me and trust Bridget. So then, a little while later, we have Tiffany talking, not really to herself, because she's talking to the feedsters. She's talking to Vanessa specifically. She's like, Vanessa, tell me what to do telepathically. So, first of all, she's like, Jose has got to go. Of course, that's a given. But she's also talking about finding a potential ride or die player that she can work with. She wants to find a number 2. And she's talking about how she would want it to be Davon, which is kind of hilarious, but also ironic, because Davon is just like, we can't trust Tiffany. So Tiffany's like, yeah, it'd be really awesome if I could pair up with Devon, but I see that she's already really close with Zakiya, so the chances of that are pretty slim. So then she was talking about how she's also close with Nicole and Michelle. I think that might be a little bit more likely, but at the same time, Nicole and Michelle are also very close. They've kind of paired off already. So I don't know. I'm thinking Tiffany's ride or die would be like Pauly, right? Sibling alliance, but she didn't really say that. But then she was talking about how everyone in her alliance, the 8-pack, knows about Vanessa being her sister, except for Corey. He's the only one that she hasn't told yet, and she's like, does it really matter? Because, like, I'm sure he didn't even watch last season. He probably doesn't even know who Vanessa is. But she's like, I'll maybe tell him down the line. Like, we'll see. And also, Pauly knows, of course. All right. So then Tiffany and Day were chatting in the safari room. They were exchanging some information. So maybe they're, like, mending the fences a little bit. But it seemed like Day was actually testing Tiffany and her relationship with Pauly. So Devon mentions that Pauly and Zakiya are getting really close, and she thinks that they like each other, like each other. So she's like, what do you think of that? Like, I hope it's not going to be a problem when we need to get rid of Pauly. So that kind of seems like Day is playing some mind games there, trying to see what Tiffany's going to say. And Tiffany's just like, they need to save that for September. This is a game. They can save that. So I think that was pretty much the answer that Devon was looking for, but was it genuine? Yeah. All right. I keep losing my place here. But then they were talking about trust within the alliance. So Tiffany is asking Devon, who do you trust the least in the 8-pack? So we know that Day wants to say, you! I don't trust you. Obviously, she's not going to say that to her face. So she's like, well, I trust Corey the least because we don't really talk that much game. What game is there for Corey to talk, honestly? But anyway, yeah, she says Corey, and Tiffany's just like, okay, that makes sense. So then Michelle comes in, and she's voicing some concerns also about Pauly, and Tiff just starts vouching for him. She's like, no, Pauly hates the other side. He wants to get rid of Victor. It's all good. So I think, you know, Devon probably noticed that too and was like, oh, she's vouching for Pauly. What's going on here? All right, so let's get into some of the crazy stuff here. So last night, Big Brother gave the house guests some alcohol. 2 nights in a row? What? So they got 6 beers and 3 bottles of wine. And this is where the drama starts. So Zakiya, like, walks off with one of the wine bottles. And she was planning on splitting it with, like, 3 other people, I'm pretty sure. But the guys get wind of this, and they're just like, wait, Zakiya just, like, walked off with a bottle for herself. Like, that's bullshit. So then Frank was like, what the F, man? Because Frank is going around trying to freaking disperse this alcohol evenly, and he's trying to set this thing up so, like, only half the house is drinking so that they could get freaking smashed and then, like, switch off next time. So he's trying to regulate that. And then he hears this, and Tiffany's like, well, I don't think she would do that. Like, I don't think so. And Frank just kind of, like, snaps a little bit, and he's just like, I freaking saw that there were 3 bottles. Damn, Tiffany! So, it really was not that big of a deal. Like, I don't think he should have done that, and I think he felt really bad about it after. But Tiffany got really upset. She was, like, off crying, sort of, and Frank, like, went over and tried to apologize to her a little while later, and it was, like, super awkward. He was just like, are we good? Like, I shouldn't have done that. Is everything okay? And Tiffany's just like, yeah, it's great. So she's crying again later in the HOH room. She's, like, covering her eyes with her beanie, and she's, like, being a little bit over dramatic about it, in my opinion. I don't think it was that big of a deal, but she was very upset about it. But anyway, speaking of Frank, oh my god, I was watching Big Brother After Dark last night, and Frank and a bunch of people were in the backyard, and they're talking about, like, kettle corn or something. Just really random. But all of a sudden, Frank lets out the gnarliest fart ever. Oh my god. And it got totally quiet, and everyone was just like, Because it went on, and I would not mention this if it was not like a world record. And Polly was just like, that was like a 5 to 10 second fart, and it was just like the craziest thing. And freaking Frank's pixel thing on his butt fell off, and it wasn't because of the fart, but the timing of it made it seem like it, and it was just it was the funniest thing ever. Okay, also, I'm gonna be laughing about this the whole time now. Okay, it's worth flashing back for, by the way. I want to say it was like 11:08 p.m. cameras 1 and 2. Maybe it was 3 and 4. I don't know. Maybe it was 3 and 4. I'm not sure. But check it out. So anyway, Paul shotgunned like 2 beers and then chugged a bunch of wine. And he got really drunk. He like dressed up like a lady. He was walking around annoying everyone. He was being like really abrasive and annoying. Which at first I was like, wow, that's really lame and immature. But then I was like, you know what? I would rather hang out with drunk Paul any night over Corey. Okay, guys. This is where it gets really emotional, emoshy. I feel like crying right now. Corey, I try not to bring like personal stuff into these spoilers and recaps and stuff, but this is so disgusting. I cannot help it, and I cannot root for Corey ever at all, ever. No. So I don't even want to talk about this because it's so disturbing, but I have to tell you guys what he said. So, and there's like no coming back from this. Like, Corey, no. So he was telling this story to a bunch of people about how his friend, like Blackout Vinny or something they call him, got super drunk this one night and like bought a goat and brought it to the baseball house, and he like covered it in lighter fluid and tried to set the goat on fire. And throughout this whole story, Corey is just, he's got this huge smile on his face, and he's acting like this is like the funniest thing that's ever happened, and it was so hilarious. He's describing how afraid the goat was and how it was like cowering, and it was just like so disgusting, and I wanted to just punch Corey. And I'm not a violent person, but it was just like so bad. And if I was in that house and I was like, I heard this, I would not be able to speak to him again after that. I would just be like, yo, power veto ceremony, can we wrap this up? Put up Corey, get that mofo out. I'm sorry, it is so messed up, it's disgusting, and I just can't even believe that this is like a real thing. I'm gonna move on. There's so many things that I want to say about this, but I'm not going to because I'm a lady sometimes. So anyway, moving on. This is why I cannot root for Corey, just so you know in the future. Okay, so Jose was chatting with Bronte last night, and even with all the alcohol and stuff, Jose was like really quiet, which was weird for him. But he's telling Bronte like he thinks that Tiff lied about being gay or being bisexual to get close to him. Like, really? Why would she lie about that? No. So then he was also annoyed because Paulie was walking around acting like he's safe. That's because he is. I cannot believe how oblivious Jose is to this whole voting situation. But anyway, Jose is going on and on about how he's the glue that keeps everyone together, and Bronte is like feeding into this, and I'm pretty sure she was serious. She's like, oh yes, you are wonderful, like you are the glue, and if you were to go home, like all of this would fall apart. I don't know what we would do without you. Bronte, what are you talking about? She seemed so aware a few days ago, and now I'm just like, girl, what's going on in there? She's losing it. So then there was an interesting strategy discussion with Victor and Nicole. Interesting in that he spilled his guts to her again. So he was like, oh, you're not my target. My targets are James, Tiffany, and Polly. Why would you tell Nicole that? James is also a veteran. Tiffany is on her team. I could understand him saying Paulie because Nicole already put him up and he doesn't freaking realize that Paulie is a pawn. But anyway, Victor is so quick to spill everything, especially to Nicole. So he also says that they've got the votes to keep Jose this week, and he's pretty much got the whole house with him. Ah! Okay, I don't understand how, like, Nicole and Davon especially keep from, like, laughing in their faces. But anyway, more cracks in the Fatal Five last night. So they had this meeting in the HOH room, and things got a little tense. They were talking about the conversations that they've been having with the other side and about the other side's targets. Like I just said, Tiffany is one of those targets. Davon lets her know, and Tiffany's like, oh, wait, what? Like, what's going on? When did they say that? What's the deal? So she wants to hear all about this, and Day is just like, whoa, calm down, chill out. And Tiffany's like, what? I'm chill. So she clearly did not like the way that Day spoke to her and told her, like, relax. I did not think it was that big of a deal, but it seemed like Tiffany was having a rough day yesterday. It did not sit well with her. So Davon's telling her, like, relax, the targets switch with them, like, every day. You know, I'm a target, then Zakia's a target, Nicole's a target, you're a target, whatever. Just relax. But it's not good. There's a lot of tension between Davon and Tiffany. So then a little while later, Nicole, Day, and Zakia were chatting, and they agree, like, they need to watch what they say to Tiff. They're realizing she's very, very sensitive, and they're like, we're only going to be able to tell her that she's a target if we feel like she's in immediate danger, because we don't need her being all paranoid and freaking out. So again, they're going to be withholding information from her. I don't know if that's a good idea. But also last night, worth mentioning, Nicole, Corey, and James had this, like, prank war, and it was, like, with shaving cream, yada, yada, yada. Today, there was a whole lot more of Jose walking around saying he's the Messiah, thinking that he's totally safe this week, and then, even better, he thinks that he's going to be hosting the Grammys when he gets out of here. He's got a couple movie deals that are going to be lining up. What? No, if you're lucky, you'll get to play again, okay? Do you see what it's like after they come back and they play again and then they live their normal lives or whatever? So, yeah, he's, like, totally delusional. But anyway, another interesting chat here. Paul and Nicole. Paul was telling Nicole, like, I don't want to get lumped into all of Jose's craziness. Okay, I think that Paul is kind of realizing that there are people that are more unaware and, like, don't know how to play the game more than him, and he can, like, separate himself from that. I think Paul is wising. Is it wising or wisening? I can't think right now. It's like 1:30. He's wising up. Whatever, I don't give a shit. I think he's getting it together. So Paul is telling Nicole, I know that Jose is into all this theatrical stuff, having all these meetings, causing all this drama, but I don't want to get roped into that. I don't want people to associate me with that. And Nicole's like, just keep doing what you're doing now. Just lay low. Just be quiet, and it'll be fine. So I think it's interesting that Paul went in there all like, bleh. And now people are talking about targeting Victor before Paul, or Bronte before Paul. So Paul is kind of fading into the background a little bit, and I think that's pretty interesting. But they had the power veto ceremony today. Paul ended up using it on himself. Good job. And Frank secretly nominated Bridget. That's interesting because she is on his team. But honestly, is Bridget even going to get any votes? Like, come on. She's not in any danger right now. She would have to mess up monumentally to go home this week. But now, after this ceremony, they're thinking, and when I say they, I mean like Jose and Paul and all them, are thinking that Michelle could potentially be the roadkill winner this week because they caught her like smirking at the ceremony or something. They still have not realized that it's Frank. Come on, guys. So anyway, that's that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you made it to the end of this, congratulations. You're awesome. And until tomorrow, much love.